The Earth was no longer the home it used to be. Cities were broken, skies were dark, fires burned where gardens once grew. The alien invaders had taken over everything. Most humans were gone, some dead, some captured, and a few hiding underground. Like ghosts, in the middle of this dead city, something strange happened. A sound, it was soft, weak, but real. A baby was crying. 3 tall alien soldiers moved through the ruins. They were covered in black armor, their eyes glowed blue. They were not human. They were part of the ruling alien force called the Vexery. Their mission was simple: find and destroy any remaining humans. The leader of the group stopped. His head tilted as he heard the sound. "Did you hear that?" he said in his deep, robotic voice. "Yes," the second one replied. "It came from over there." The third soldier, a female named Zira, looked toward the broken building. The cry came again, softer this time, like the baby was losing strength. "It's a trap," the leader said. "No human baby would survive this long." "Still," Zira said quietly, "we should check." The 3 moved toward the sound, stepping over broken glass and burned metal. Zira felt something strange in her chest. She didn't understand it yet. A feeling, something warm. Something she had not felt since her own child had died. Years ago in the war, the leader pulled out a scanner and pointed it toward the sound. Nothing, no heat signs, no tech signals, just noise. "Leave it," he said. "We continue patrol." But Zira didn't move. She stared at the shadows behind the rubble. Her sharp hearing picked up something small, something real. "I will stay and scan the area once more," she said. The leader gave her a hard look. Then he nodded. 5 minutes. "Don't waste time." The others walked away. Zira waited until they were out of sight. Then slowly she walked into the broken building. Her boots crunched on the ash-covered floor. The baby's cry was very weak now. Almost gone, she followed the sound to a broken metal cabinet, half buried under stone, with both hands. She moved the debris and opened the cabinet door. There it was, a small human baby, wrapped in a torn blanket, his face red from crying, eyes full of pain. He was alive. But barely. Zira stared at him. The baby looked up at her. His little hands reached out. He didn't know she was an alien. He didn't know she was supposed to be his enemy. He only saw someone who could help. Zira fell to her knees. Her chest tightened. Her breathing slowed. Her body began to react. Her kind had a deep biological bond with younglings. It was called the care trigger. It was rare. Most Vexery had lost it long ago, but Zira hadn't. She reached forward slowly. As if touching a dream, the baby grabbed her finger and smiled. That was all it took. Zira pulled him into her arms. He was cold, very cold. She held him close. Her body heat warmed him. The care trigger activated fully now. Something inside her changed. Milk. It had not flowed in years, but now her body prepared to feed. She looked around. If anyone saw her now, she would be executed as a traitor, but she didn't care. She opened her armor slightly and placed the baby to her chest. He latched on quickly and drank as if he had not eaten in days. Tears formed in Zira's eyes. "What are you doing?" she whispered to herself, but she already knew. This child was hers now. Suddenly, a noise came from outside, a footstep. A metal clank. Someone was coming back. She wrapped the baby tightly in the blanket and placed him inside her armor's hidden storage compartment, a space once used for energy cells. She stood fast, just as the second soldier returned. "You still here?" he asked. "I scanned the area." "Nothing alive," she lied. He narrowed his glowing eyes. "Then let's go. This city is dead." Zira nodded. As they walked away, she felt a soft breath against her chest. The baby was safe for now. The night was cold and the city was silent, except for the soft heartbeat of something hidden. Zira moved carefully through the broken streets, her black armor hiding her in the shadows. Inside her chest compartment, the human baby slept, wrapped in a torn blanket and warmed by her own body heat. No soldier, no drone, and no commander could know what she carried. If they found out, they would not ask questions. They would kill the baby and her. Zira reached an old human bunker, half buried under a fallen bridge. She pressed her hand against the metal door. It groaned open with a loud creak. She quickly stepped inside and sealed it behind her. It was dark. Only the soft green light from her armor showed the room. Rusted machines, broken chairs, and old papers covered in dust filled the space. It had not been touched in years, but it was safe. For now, she sat down on a broken bench and gently opened the armor's chest panel. The baby let out a soft whimper, blinking up at her with tired, confused eyes. "You're hungry again," she said softly. She didn't know why she was talking to a human child. Her kind saw humans as animals, weak, wild, and useless. But this child felt different, special. She didn't even know his name. She decided to give him one. "Eon," she whispered. "That will be your name." Eon, the name meant eternal in her language. It sounded right. She removed her armored glove and placed her hand over her chest. Her body had already changed. The care trigger had done its job. Her milk was ready. No other alien would dare do this. Feeding a human was forbidden, but she didn't feel fear. She felt purpose. She took Eon in her arms and gently placed him to her chest. He latched on quickly, his small hands gripping her skin as he drank. His body trembled from hunger, but slowly he calmed. His eyes closed and peace returned to his face. Zira felt her heart beat faster. She had not held a child in her arms since her own baby died back on her home planet. She had watched her child turn cold from disease while the doctors stood by, helpless, but Eon was alive. And she would not lose him, not again. Hours passed in silence. Then a sound broke the peace. A scanner drone flew outside the bunker. Its sharp hum cut through the night air like a knife. Zira froze. She placed Eon back inside her armor and pressed herself against the wall. The drone hovered outside the bunker door. Click, click, click. It was scanning. She shut down her armor's power systems. The lights went dark. No signal, no heat. She held her breath. Eon stirred in her arms. "No," she whispered. "Don't cry." The baby whimpered once. The drone beeped. Zira closed her eyes. Then, silence. The drone flew away. She waited 5 more minutes before turning her armor back on. Her breathing was heavy. That was too close, she whispered. She needed a plan. A place where she and the baby could stay hidden longer. She remembered a human library deep underground. It was abandoned after the invasion. It had power, food packs, and a medical kit. She had seen it once during a patrol. No alien had entered since. Yes, that would be their new shelter. She stood up, holding Eon close, and made her way through the ruins. As she walked, memories came back. Her son. His small voice, his laugh. His tiny hand in hers. She pushed the thoughts away. They hurt too much, but Eon made her remember that love again. He wasn't just a human baby, he was her second chance. Suddenly, Eon made a small sound. "Ma!" Zira stopped walking. "What did you say?" She whispered. The baby looked up at her, his mouth moving. "Ma." She stared at him. Shock filled her eyes. Had he really said that? It was too early for human babies to speak, but he had. "Ma." It hit her like lightning. He saw her as his mother. Zira held him tighter. Tears rolled down her face. She didn't. "Wipe them away. You're not just a child," she said. "You're mine now." But even as the words left her lips, she knew danger was coming. A soldier had seen her alone on patrol. A commander had asked too many questions. The drone had scanned too close. The secret would not stay hidden forever. She had made her choice, but it would come at a price. The underground library was cold, but quiet, safe, hidden. Zira stood in the dark hallway, holding baby Eon close to her chest. The light from her armor showed shelves of old human books, some fallen, some still standing like forgotten guardians of the past. This place had been untouched since the invasion. It smelled of dust and paper, but it was secure. No drones came here, no patrols. It had been marked cleared by the Vexary army years ago. Now, it was a sanctuary. She found a small room with thick walls and a broken security door. Perfect. She placed Eon down on a pile of soft blankets, made from old human clothes she had gathered earlier. He smiled at her. Reaching for her finger, Zira sat beside him and removed her helmet. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to breathe freely. No commands, no missions. No war. Only him, only Eon. But something had changed. He was growing faster than normal. His body had already grown larger than when she first found him, maybe. By weeks, his eyes were sharper. He followed movement. He reacted to sounds. He had even spoken, Ma. That one word still echoed in her head. It wasn't normal. It wasn't possible, unless her milk was changing him. Zira activated her armor's internal scanner and gently placed a small probe on Eon's arm. The machine buzzed softly. The screen showed something strange, his DNA. It was shifting, adapting. He was no longer fully human. Zira's heart pounded. What had she done? Was she giving him life or creating something dangerous? She looked at the baby again. He was smiling, trying to chew on a corner of her glove. Innocent, pure, but inside him, something powerful was waking up, something alien. Suddenly, her communicator buzzed. Zira froze. She hadn't used it in days. The message was short. Just 2 words. Return, now. She stood up fast. No one called her back without reason. They knew she had to act fast. Zira placed Eon back into the hidden compartment in her armor. She wrapped him tightly and made sure he could breathe. Then she sealed the armor and turned on all defensive protocols. I'll come back, she whispered. Stay silent, stay safe. Then she climbed up through the cracked floor and out into the night. At the Vexery base, the air was heavy with suspicion. Zira walked through the metallic halls surrounded by other soldiers in dark armor. No one spoke. Only scanners beeped and lights flashed red. She entered the command hall. A tall alien stood in front of her, wearing a crimson cape and a helmet with golden lines. Commander VARAK. He was known for only 2 things: his loyalty to the Empire and his hatred for humans. You were gone longer than ordered, he said without greeting. I was scouting old human tunnels, Zira replied calmly. Alone? Varak's eyes narrowed. For days? And there were strange energy. Readings. I wanted to make sure no human tech remained. Varak stepped closer. There's been talk, he said. A drone picked up odd movement near the ruins. Your heat signature alone but unusual. I was repairing my armor, Zira lied. It caused interference. He stared at her, long, cold, then he held up a small device. It played a recording, a baby's cry. Zira's blood turned to ice. Explain this, Varak said. She stayed silent. He stepped closer. Is it yours, a secret child? You had one before. Did you break our law and bond again? Zira straightened. I have no child. You're lying, he growled. Suddenly, a sharp beep came from her armor. The hidden compartment. A soft noise. Eon had moved. Varak's eyes widened. What was that? Zira didn't wait. She grabbed a smoke grenade from her belt, slammed it to the ground, and disappeared into the smoke. Shouts filled the hallway. Alarms screamed as she ran. Blasters fired behind her. She didn't stop. She reached the gate and leapt over the edge, landing hard on the cold ground below. Her legs hurt, her chest burned. But Eon was safe. That was all that mattered. She ran for hours, through ruins, fire, and ash, until she reached the underground library. Again, she sealed the door. She collapsed on the floor. She opened the armor. Eon was crying. She held him close, rocking him gently. It's okay, she whispered. We're safe. For now. But her hands were shaking. They knew. And soon, they would come. The old library was now a battlefield of silence. Dust floated in the air. Pages of forgotten books shifted with each breath of wind. Hidden in a locked reading room deep underground, Zira sat beside a dim light, her armor scratched and burned. Her hands trembled as she adjusted the settings on her portable scanner. Baby Eon lay on a soft blanket, watching her with wide, glowing eyes. Glowing. That had never happened before. Zira stared at the readings on the scanner. His DNA. It had changed again. He's not just human anymore, she whispered. The alien milk had triggered something deep inside him. Not just growth. Not just strength. Evolution. Eon's single quotes S cells were now combining human and Vexery traits. His body was stronger. His skin healed faster. His mind faster still. At just a few months old, he could understand gestures. He responded to sounds. And his first word, ma, was not just sound, it was intention. Zira placed the scanner aside and looked at him. You are becoming something. New, she said softly. Ian blinked slowly. He raised one tiny hand toward her face. She let him touch her. A spark passed between them, and in that moment, she felt a thought, not words, not sound, but a feeling inside her head. Warm, safe, love. She stood quickly. No, she whispered. You can't, you shouldn't. Ian tilted his head, curious. Calm, he was reading her emotions. She stepped back, shocked. He wasn't just evolving. He was becoming telepathic, a rare ability among Vexari. Almost extinct. And now it lived in a half-human child, outside, deep in. The city's ruins, a group of alien soldiers marched quietly through the smoke. Their leader held a tracking device. It blinked green soft, steady. She's nearby, he said. The traitor is hiding in Sector 9, another soldier nodded. She has something with her. Yes, the leader growled. A child. A hybrid. Zira didn't know they were close. She was too busy preparing her next move. She looked through a map of the city, pulling up old human roots. There was an abandoned resistance base far south hidden under a collapsed mountain. If she could get there, she might find old human tech, maybe even others in hiding, but travel was dangerous now. She was being hunted. Still, she had no choice. I can't let them take you, she said to Ian. She began to pack her gear, placing food, medicine, and a data crystal into a small bag. She wrapped Ian in a stronger thermal cloth, designed to shield him from heat scans. She opened her armor and carefully secured him inside. Suddenly a noise. The metal door to the library creaked. Zira froze. She turned off the light. Footsteps. Closer. She grabbed her pulse blaster and stood behind a pillar. A shadow moved through the hallway. Slow, searching, a Vexari soldier. Zira held her breath. Then she struck. She jumped from the shadows, striking the soldier in the neck. He fell silent. She caught his weapon before it hit the floor, but the damage was done. The soldier had transmitted her location before he entered. She was out of time. She ran through the old tunnels beneath the city, her breath short, her armor heavy. Behind her, more footsteps, more lights. The hunters were close. Inside her chest, Ian stirred. His tiny hands pressed against her. Then dashed something strange. Her path was blocked. A wall had collapsed. Cutting off the tunnel, she turned to run back, but soldiers dropped in from above. Trap.xer raised her blaster. Stay back, the soldiers aimed their weapons. Hand over the child. He's not a threat. He's an abomination. Their leader shouted. Suddenly, everything stopped. A strange pressure filled the air. The lights flickered. Then, all weapons flew from the soldiers' hands, smashing into the walls. The soldiers screamed, falling to their knees. Zira looked down. Her armor was glowing. No, not her. Ian. She opened the chest compartment. Light poured out from him. His eyes glowed bright white. His small hands were raised, and all around them, the air shimmered, a force field, pure energy. Coming from him. The soldiers crawled backward, terrified. Make it stop. One shouted. Xera stepped forward, cradling Ian in her arms. Leave now, she said. They didn't argue. They ran. Minutes later, silence returned. Zira knelt, holding Ian close. He had stopped glowing. He was asleep now. She touched his cheek. Stunned. You saved us, she whispered. He didn't answer. But she felt the warmth in her mind again. Safe, ma, safe. Tears filled her eyes. She was no longer just a protector. She was the mother of something new. Something powerful, something that could change everything. But the world would not understand, and they would not stop hunting them. So she stood again, holding Ian tighter than ever. We run, but not forever, she whispered. One day, they'll see. One day you'll show them who you are. And in the dark tunnel, with only hope to guide them, they disappeared into the shadows. The mountains rose like broken teeth against the red sky. Zira moved through the fog-covered valley, her body sore, her armor cracked. Each step was heavier than the last. Ian rested inside her chest unit, silent and warm, wrapped tightly in the energy cloth that now protected him from all scans. They had been walking for 2 days. No food. Little water. But they were alive. Zira reached the edge of a ruined military base half buried under rock and vines. This was once a human stronghold during the last days of Earth's fall. Now it was just rubble and ghosts. She pushed open a rusted gate and entered. Inside, the walls were cold, the air still, but something told her this place had power left. Maybe enough to survive a little longer. She laid Eon on a padded chair and activated a small generator. The lights flickered, then came on, dim but working. For now, they were safe. She sat beside him, brushing dust from his hair. He smiled in his sleep. That smile. It gave her strength, but it couldn't erase the truth. She was now a traitor. The Vexery Council had officially declared her a fugitive. Her name was broadcast across the galaxy. Zira, protector of the human hybrid, wanted dead or alive. Every drone, soldier, and bounty hunter would be looking for her. And yet, she had no regrets. Eon stirred, opening his eyes. They glowed for a moment, then faded. He looked older again. Not by years, but by development. He was learning too fast. Understanding too much. You're changing, she whispered. And I don't know why. She connected her armor to the base's old computer. Maybe she could find answers. Maybe something in the human research files would help her understand what Eon was becoming. While the system loaded, she held Eon and fed him again. He drank calmly, but his hand rested over her heart. Suddenly she felt it, another thought. Deeper than before, pain, fear, fire. She pulled back, startled. You're reading my memories, she said. Eon blinked. No. Not just reading, you feel them. He was not just learning. He was absorbing. Her past, her sorrow, her fears. The computer beeped. Data loaded. Zira scanned through files from the final human resistance group. Reports, logs, DNA maps. Then something caught her eye. Project Ecoseed. She opened it. Words flashed on the screen. We attempted to blend alien and human DNA to create a future without war. A child that could survive both worlds? Zira's heart stopped. The project had failed, except one sample was sent away, hidden in a stasis pod before the final invasion. Coordinates listed. Near the ruins where she found Eon, her hands shook. He was part of it, she said. That's why he survived. That's why he's different. But before she could read more, the alarm screamed. Intruders.xer. It grabbed her weapon and sealed the room's door. Through the cameras, she saw them, black-armored Vexery elites, 4 of them. Moving fast. Silent and deadly, they had found her. She turned to Eon. No more hiding. She placed him in a reinforced survival pod, locking it behind a wall panel. The pod would keep him warm, fed, and safe. Then she turned to face the door, blaster ready. The first soldier entered. Fast.xera dropped him with a single shot. The second came from the side. She dodged, struck him down, but the third was quicker. He fired, hitting her shoulder. Pain exploded down her arm. She fell, her blaster sliding away. The last soldier stepped in. Weapon aimed at her head. You betrayed your kind, he said coldly. Zira bled, breathing hard. I protected life. You fed a human, nursed it, raised it. He is more than that, she whispered. He is hope. The soldier prepared to fire. Then light exploded behind the wall. The panel burst open. Eon floated into the air, glowing brighter than ever before. The soldier turned terrified. Zira reached for her blaster, too. Slow, but she didn't have to. Fire. Eon raised his tiny hand. And with a soundless shockwave, the soldier was thrown across the room, armor shattering. Silence returned. Zira stared at Eon. He floated down slowly, his eyes dimming, his body small again. She crawled to him and held him tight. You saved me again. He rested his head against her, breathing soft. You're not a weapon, she whispered. You're a bridge. A bridge between 2 worlds. Later that night, under the stars, Zira sent a message through the old resistance network. A secret channel still lived in the shadows. She spoke into the mic. To any remaining humans, this is Zira, former Vexery commander. I carry the last hybrid child of Earth. He is not a threat. He is the key to peace. I seek allies. If you hear this, we are not your enemy. She ended the message and looked at Eon. Now, sleeping beside her, she had chosen her path, and she would walk it no matter the cost. Asterisk the stars above the mountain. Base burned brighter than ever before. Zira stood outside the ruined bunker, her eyes scanning the sky. The message she sent to the human resistance had gone out 4 days ago. No reply. No signal. Just silence. Behind her. Inside the safe room, Eon slept in a shielded pod. He no longer looked like a baby. His face was changing. His features were sharper. Now part human, part vexery, and his mind was awakening. Zira touched her wounded shoulder. The bandages were soaked. Her body was growing weaker, but she didn't care. Her mission was clear now. Protect the child. No matter what. Suddenly, the air shifted. A sound echoed from the valley, soft, low, mechanical. A ship. She turned sharply. A small resistance flyer hovered above the broken road, landing carefully between the rocks. Dust flew, the engine hissed. Zira raised her blaster and stepped forward. The door opened. 3 humans stepped out, wearing old armor with cracked helmets. Their leader, a tall woman with a gray scarf and sharp eyes, lowered her weapon as she— "So Zira, you're the alien who sent the message?" Zira nodded. "My name is Zira. I protected the child. He lives." The woman raised an eyebrow. "Where is he? Inside? Safe?" The woman paused. Then she said, "My name is Captain Ellen Ward. I was part of Earth's last defense squad. We've been in hiding since the invasion." Zira lowered her weapon. "Then we are allies." That depends," Ellen replied coldly. "Show me the boy." Inside the bunker, Ian sat quietly on the floor. His eyes followed every movement. He watched Ellen and the other humans enter the room. He didn't cry. He didn't hide, he just stared. Ellen knelt beside him. "This is him?" she asked. Zira nodded. "His name is Eon. He is not fully human, but he's not a threat." Ellen looked into Eon's glowing eyes. "I can feel something. Like pressure in my head? He can touch minds," Zira explained. "Only if he trusts you." Ellen held out her hand. "Hello, Eon." Eon blinked. Then slowly, he reached out and touched her fingers. A sudden warmth passed through Ellen's body. Memories, images, emotions, a battlefield, a lost home, a mother's love. Tears welled in her eyes. She pulled her hand back, breathless. "He's not a weapon," she said softly. "He's connection." Zira nodded. "He is the bridge between your people and mine." Ellen stood. "The resistance will want to meet him, but they won't all agree. Some will fear him." "I don't need them to agree," Zira said. "I just need them to listen." Hours later, Eon stood before a small group of human rebels in a hidden forest base. They watched him closely, some with hope, others with fear. A young soldier stepped forward. "This is the hybrid. He looks wrong." Ellen raised her hand. "Watch your words." But the soldier continued. "What if he turns on us? What if— He's a trap?" Zira stepped forward, eyes fierce. "He saved my life, he saved your commander's life, he is just a child? Then why does he have power?" Eon took a step forward. The crowd went silent. Then he raised his hand. A soft white light filled the air around them. "Not dangerous, not hot. Just calm." Birds returned to the trees. The wind grew softer. Everyone felt it. Peace. And then a whisper echoed in their minds, not a voice, but a feeling. "I don't want to fight. I want to help." The soldier fell to his knees. Overwhelmed, others followed. Zira placed her hand on Eon's shoulder. "You were born from war," she said softly, "but you will bring peace." That night, around the campfire, Ellen handed Zira a datapad. "It's not just humans who are watching," she said. "The Vexery have sent bounty hunters. They know he's alive. They've placed a reward on your head." Zira didn't flinch. "Let them come. I don't think they want to kill him," Ellen continued. "I think they want to control him." Zira looked at Eon, who sat nearby, drawing shapes in the dirt with his fingers. "He cannot be controlled." "No," Ellen agreed. "But he can lead." Later, as the stars filled the sky again, Eon sat quietly, staring up into the darkness. Zira sat beside him. "Do you know what you are?" she asked. Eon looked at her and nodded slowly. Half human, half vexery, all heart. She smiled. Then Eon placed his hand on her cheek. A soft glow passed between them. Her pain faded, her wound closed. He had healed her. Not with science, not with tools. With love, with will. He leaned his head against her shoulder and whispered, in clear, perfect English, "Thank you, Mama." Zira froze. It was the first full sentence he had ever spoken, and it broke her heart in the best way. "You're welcome, my son," she whispered. The battlefield was quiet, not because the war had ended, but because it had paused. A strange silence had taken over the valley, where broken tanks, burnt trees, and shattered drones lay scattered like fallen bones. In the center stood Zira, armor scarred, eyes steady. Beside her stood Eon, no longer a baby, not yet a man, but something more. Something new. His eyes glowed with soft white light. His skin shimmered faintly. The wind moved around him, almost like it listened. Before them stood two armies. On one side, the last of the human resistance, unsure but ready. On the other, Vexery soldiers still loyal to the Empire, their weapons humming with power. Between them was choice. Fight. Or listen. Zira looked at Eon. "You don't have to do this." Eon shook his head. "Yes, I do. They need to see." Zira stepped back. And Eon walked forward. Alone. The human commander raised her hand. "Don't shoot." The Vexery general narrowed his eyes. "What is this child doing?" But Eon didn't speak. He simply stopped between both armies and knelt. Then he placed his hands on the ground. A pulse of light spread out in all directions. Not fire, not violence. Just warmth. And then images appeared in the minds of everyone. Present. Memories. Visions. A mother holding a baby in the ruins of war. An alien soldier choosing mercy over orders. A hybrid child saving both species again and again. They all saw the same thing. Love. Sacrifice. Hope. When the light faded, no one moved. No one could. They had felt each other's pain, each other's fear, each other's humanity, even the ones who weren't fully human. The Vexery general dropped his weapon. "I remember her," he whispered. "She was my sister. She died saving a human child." The human commander nodded slowly. "We are not enemies anymore, not if we choose not to be." Eon stood up. He was breathing hard. The light in his body dimmed. His strength was fading. He had given everything, but it was enough. The soldiers, one by one, lowered their weapons. The battle never began. Later, the valley was quiet again, but now for a different reason. Peace. Real peace. Zira sat on a hill overlooking the field, her armor finally removed. For the first time, she felt the earth's air on her skin without fear. Eon lay beside her, resting. His face was calm, but tired. "You did it," she whispered, brushing his hair back. "You saved them." He opened his eyes slowly. "We did." She smiled. They watched as humans and Vexery worked together below, sharing food, tending wounds, clearing debris. Enemies yesterday, neighbors today. Eon looked at the sky. "Will it last?" Zira didn't answer right away. "I don't know," she said honestly, "but it's a start." He sat up and took her hand. "They'll need a guide," he said. "They have one," she replied, squeezing his fingers. "They have you." He shook his head. "Not just me." Then he looked at her deeply. "You are the first to believe I was more than a weapon. You are the first to love me without fear." Zira's throat tightened. "I was a soldier," she said, "trained to follow orders, to fight, to destroy. And yet," Eon said, "you became a mother." She looked down, tears in her eyes. "No, I always was. I just forgot," he smiled. "Then remember now." She held him close, and for the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to hope. 1 year later, the earth was still wounded, but healing. New cities were rising, built by both human and Vexery hands. Schools reopened, clean water flowed again. The skies were no longer filled with warships, but with birds. At the center of the largest settlement stood a tall statue. It showed a woman holding a child, one arm wrapped around him, one hand holding a book. Knowledge. At the base of the statue were just 4 words: Mother of the New Earth People. From all over came to see it. To remember. To learn. Eon, now older and stronger, often stood at its base, teaching young ones both alien and human. He told them stories of his mother, of how love changed a soldier, of how a baby changed a world. One evening, he returned to a quiet garden behind the city. There, sitting by a tree, was Zira, now with gray in her hair, but the same strength in her eyes. He sat beside her. "I told your story today," he said. "Did they listen?" He nodded. "More than ever." She closed her eyes. "Good." Then she looked at him. "They won't remember me as a hero," she said. "They'll remember you as something more," Eon replied. "A mother." She smiled, leaning her head on his shoulder. "And that's enough."